and I will close out. It won't take a long time since we're a little bit, well, we're right about at the end of our time now, but I want to follow up on things that really that all of you shared. And here I have really two big messages for youth today. And the first one is that you and nobody else controls your future. A lot of times what we see, and we work in my organization, we work with youth all over the world, not just all over the country, and we focus on young people designing their own future. You may not like the life you were born into and you didn't choose that, but you control the future that you grow into. And a lot of times young people don't know that they really can design their own future. And for the adults that are listening, we all understand that if kids are never shown anything different than what they grow up with, they will never make different choices than the people before them. If all you've ever seen, for example, the work we do in the inner cities, if there's a child that's only ever seen everybody around him running drugs, involved in crime, involved in gangs, gee, guess what decision they're going to make? So if they haven't seen another choice, they don't make another choice. So for the adults, it's your responsibility to show our young people that they have lots of choices for their lives, not just the one in front of them. But for the young people that are listening, you need to understand that your future is yours. No one else don't count on anybody else to design it for you, to make things better, to get you out of here. It's on you. But here's the good news. There's no reason that you can't do that. And I'm going to share with you kind of the secret to doing that, the secret to living the life you want to live, not the one that you were born into or that you feel like you're stuck with. For me, guys, I was born in the middle of nowhere in a nothing town, single mom, 4 kids, 3 jobs. We were poor. Tribute to my mom, I do have to say, though, that my sister recently pointed out, she said, you know what, we never knew we were poor because my mother never focused on what we didn't have. She kind of focused on what could be someday. And that's what I'm asking you all to focus on now, not the bad things around you, but the good things that are out there waiting for you to find them. So here is the kind of secret to success. And by the way, everybody focuses, especially when you don't have it, everybody focuses on money. People talk about being broke. And if you watch social media, everybody's pretending they're living a life that they're probably not. And, even if we go all the way back to music videos, right, Dr. Dre, they were flashing fancy cars and expensive alcohol and things you don't have to show you that they had more money than you. But here's one of the secrets. Money is not the currency of the future or the most valuable currency. Knowledge is. Knowledge is your key to any life you want, not making a buck on the street. That money doesn't get you anywhere except through tomorrow. Knowledge lets you design a whole new life that you never even imagined that you could live. And nobody but you, nobody can stop you from acquiring knowledge, right? For you to better yourself and to pursue the things that you want to do, it only takes 2 requirements. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take anybody else around you, even if no one believes in you, except you're hearing today from all these speakers that people do. It requires 2 things, your brain and your heart. If you want to train your mind and acquire knowledge, and in your heart, you believe in yourself and you're willing to do the work, you don't need anybody else to help you, and nobody can stop you. Look within for that answer. And the key is for you to become, I'm going to say this twice, for you to become valuable to the people that can change your life. People ask me how I went from the little town, right, with a broke mom and we never had anything, into the life that later I was blessed to live. And the answer is, first, this is the formula. First, figure out who do you want to be valuable with. If you want to be in the music industry and around the big players, you need to be valuable to them. Why would they invite you? Why would they call you? You want to be in the fashion industry? Then you need to be valuable to the people in the fashion industry. You need them to want to call you. So for me, I will tell you guys mine. Mine was travel. No one ever left the little town we grew up in. And that's okay. I'm not judging them. It's not right or wrong. But I wanted to go see the world. And my friends laughed at me. And they're like, yo, your mom's broke and you're broke. You ain't going anywhere. You're never going to see the world. So I sat down and I said, the same thing I'm challenging you to do right now. What is the future you want? And I said, well, the future I want is I want to be able to travel and see the world. And again, that's not my present. I was born into a poor situation where no one travels anywhere. But I was like, how could I achieve my goal? And whatever any young people listening, whatever your goal is, ask yourself that. Where do I want to be one day? And how do I get there? So I started thinking, I want to fly around the world. Well, guess what? I can't afford an airplane. I can't afford an airline ticket. I can't afford to, we don't even go to restaurants, right? We certainly don't fly somewhere. But what if I was important to the airline people and they started calling me, right? So that's the key. Figure out who you want to be important to and become important to them. How do you become important to those people? The answer is that you need to solve problems that they have. When you have the solution to a problem other people have, everybody wants you. And that's your way out of the life that you're in. So I started thinking, how do I solve a problem so the people that control the airlines all want me to come? And the answer to that is learning, the part that no one can stop you from doing. You know what I did? I stayed up all night, late at night after doing my work, right? And I stayed up late at night researching. How do airlines work? How do airports work? What problems do they have? I read articles, right? I watched videos, all things you can do that no one can stop you from doing. You have to be willing to do the work, right? And you have to be, acquiring that knowledge. Then I started emailing people, just cold emails. I don't know any of these people. And a lot of times what young people think is, she's not going to answer me. She's a big, important person, and I'm just some kid, right? In a poor neighborhood. But that's wrong, right? I actually one time flew to a village in West Africa to visit a young kid because he sent me an email that said, "Dear Mr. Hoffman, we could use some help in the village." Don't say no for people. Reach out to people, because despite what the news wants to tell you, that how horrible the world is, actually, there's a lot of really good people in the world, like all the people that just spoke to you on and UNISA. This whole group are people that care about you. There are people that out there. So I started reaching out and sending emails. Hey man, I'm trying to improve myself. I want a better life. I want out of here. I have goals. And I said, I've been researching your industry and I think I could help. You know what happened? Airline people started calling me. And all of a sudden, the very first one ever was, I had a solution to a problem they were having in an airport because I stayed up all night and gained knowledge. I read everything and I watched everything, and I sent a note and said, I have a solution that I think you'll probably want. And they said, whoa, that's interesting. Can we fly you out here? And suddenly I was on a plane to Europe, the broke kid with the broke mom who's never even been anywhere. I'm on a plane to Europe because somebody wanted to talk to me. When you acquire knowledge and you solve problems and you become valuable to people, all of a sudden your life changes. So again, I'm going to cover one more thing before I stop, but I want you to think about that. Who do you wish you were around? It doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, if it's fashion, if it's travel, if it's tech, if you're a gamer and you want to be around the biggest gamers, you know what? Find a way to be valuable to them so that all those gamers want to talk to you. Anybody on this call can do that. You have to become the go-to girl that everybody wants to talk to. You have to become the go-to guy that everybody wants to talk to. And the key to doing that is acquiring knowledge, which nobody can stop you from doing, no matter where you are right now. There is one other thing I want to share with you that I know that the other speakers have touched on a little bit as well, which is that it really is as important as everybody told you today to focus on the people that you listen to. Now, I can't say the people you surround yourself with, because you might be in a neighborhood or a situation, you're a kid, you have no control over that, right? The people around you are the people around you. But what I'm going to tell you is focus then on the people you listen to. When I was growing up, I grew up in an environment where people already gave up, right? They didn't care. They didn't believe a better future was possible. No one was ever getting out of here. And so I would listen to that and it would drag me down. Man, if everybody thinks that but me, maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm a dreamer. Maybe everybody else is right. But one day I said, no, maybe they're just all people that gave up and aren't willing to try. I think I can get out of here and have a way better life. Um, but the key is, who do you listen to? And so that is exactly why UNISA has Kamara Youths, and that is exactly why all these speakers today, it's Saturday. We all have things to do. We're all donating our time to you because we actually care about you having a better life. There are people that care about that. So I was listening to all the wrong people. I was listening to everybody telling me I wasn't good enough. My mom's broke. No one ever gets out of here. You're a stupid dreamer, all that stuff. And one day I said, even though I can't physically surround myself with the people I want to be around, I can connect. That's the beauty that you young people have that none of us that spoke had. You have the entire world connected through the internet and social media. I get messages I get DMs on my social media from kids all over the country and all over the world that I would never have met if it weren't for the online connection. They send me messages and reach out and say, Mr. Hoffman, can I ask you a question? Can you help me with something? You have access to positive people that can share knowledge with you, that can lift you, right? When I was growing up, I was thinking nobody around me believes in themselves. Nobody around me is trying for a better life, and no one thinks I can do it. But the day I decided to stop listening to them, I started reaching out, and I was reaching out. Here's who I want you to reach out to. Look in your community. Look online, find somebody in the world that you want to be like when you grow up, and reach out to that person. You may never hear from them. Keep trying, try somebody else. But the goal is to find a mentor. And a mentor is someone you wish you were like someday. And so I reached out to that man, and it took months. And he kept on telling me, his office kept telling me, stop emailing him and stop calling us. And I kept doing it for a few months. And one day, his assistant called and said, look, he has a meeting at a Starbucks near you. Here's the deal. He'll give you 20 minutes if you promise to never speak to us again for as long as you live. So I went to the 20-minute meeting. He canceled the rest of his day. 3 hours later, we were still talking, and he was my mentor for years. He was the person that I listened to. And I'm going to end now by just telling you a story of a friend of mine. I had a friend, family immigrated from Cuba when he was a little kid, father in prison, mother on drugs, barely spoke English, born into the worst part of Miami, where everybody ran the streets. It was all drugs and gangs. But he made a decision as a kid. He said, I don't want this life. I think I can do better. And he studied the industry he wanted to be in, and he worked on it, and he stayed out of trouble, and he did something that really amazed me one day. One day, he unfriended some of his friends, and I don't mean online because it didn't exist. He went to some of the people he hung out with, and he said, you're not going to see me much anymore because I got plans. And they said, what, are you unfriending us? And he said, I can't be around people like you anymore because you're going down a wrong path, and I don't want to go that way. And he had the strength to stop hanging out with the wrong people. I'm telling all the youth that. Look at the people around you. And he said, I want to be around people who believe in themselves or are going somewhere. So he changed his friend group, and he studied, and he worked hard, and he had a plan. And the person that shared this with me was a gentleman that's now a successful professional athlete. But at the time, he was friends with my friend on the streets of Miami. And when everyone else was running the streets and running drugs, he said that my friend, his name is Armando, he said, Jeff, one of the days that changed my life was the day that Armando unfriended me, because he said, I got things to do and places to go and you don't. And you cut to years later, and this man was sitting in federal prison, and he turned on TV and he was watching a New Year's Eve special, and he suddenly sat up and he said, the New Year's Eve special was Pitbull, the singer, live in Times Square. And he sat up and he told me this story. He said, that's the day that changed my life, because the guy that I'm talking about, Armando, today you guys know him as Mr. Worldwide. My friend is Pitbull. And Pitbull made decisions to acquire knowledge about the music industry, to study it, and to stop spending. You know what he said to me one day? A great way to stay out of prison is to stop hanging out with people who go to prison. And he unfriended the wrong people. And the reason we're friends is because he reached out to me one day and said, Jeff, I think I could learn a lot from you if you would spend some time with me. So I'm going to summarize, guys. The key to whatever life you want to live is figure out what future you want. You own it, you create it. Then figure out a way to become valuable to the people you wish you could hang out with, the industry. Again, whether it's fashion, music, sports, food industry, restaurants, whatever it is. You decide what you're interested in, study the industry, become knowledgeable, use your knowledge to make things better and solve problems. And then everybody, those people will start calling you from all over the place because they want to talk to you. That is your way out. And again, surround yourself, even if you have to do it online, listen to people that you want to be like and stop listening to people that you know in your heart are going somewhere that you don't want to go. The future is yours, you own it, and no one can stop you from having the future that you want to have except you. Unisa, thank you so much for creating this day, and thank you guys very much for including me in it. I really appreciate it.